Hello everyone, welcome back to yet another political episode. So usually we don't do videos like this. In fact, this is the very first video where we're actually analyzing an election, an international election before it actually happened. Really, Canada. There's a reason why we're really putting so much into the Canadian race, and really we haven't put much at all, anything in the Canadian race. It's actually tomorrow. And it's going to impact the United States. And reason why we need a new prime minister. I'll tell you, John Carney has, whatever this guy's name is, Mark Carney. Why I say John Carney? Mark Carney has done an absolute embarrassment to. He has absolutely destroyed U.S.-Canadian relations, as you can clearly see right here on the video right here from the content created from the Eurasian Mapping, who studies and creates content in regards to U.S. relations. You'll see Canada apparently approves the United States and gives the United States a minus 60. And I find this to be laughable because, yeah, I would say, yes, U.S. relations are down, quote unquote, but I would describe United States-Canadian relations to be positive. This is unrealistic because the United States is an ally of Canada, and Canada is an ally of the United States. It's not a foreign adversary. It's not being talked about in the media because we know why. The media wants to create this alternative world that the United States has rejected Canada in the West, and it has joined the East. And apparently, I'm not going to hate on Eurasian mapping. This is not being mentioned to hate on Eurasian mapping. But I just want to point it out. It's something that has talked about. A lot of people are saying that the United States is now a Eastern aligned country, and I'm saying no. And that number is growing, and I'm saying, you know what? I'm sorry, Eurasian, but I have to use you as an example. This is nothing against you. I am a proud subscriber of Eurasian Mapping, actually. But I just want to point it out, in other words, as respectfully as possible, this is wrong. It is wrong. As an American, and I held nothing to Eurasian Mapping. He is not Trump deranged. I don't accuse him of being Trump deranged. He is from Kazakhstan, so he's from far away in a country which is under a dictatorship, believe it or not. I want to believe he does oppose the regime or not. I don't know. It's not my business to know. He is a true believer of Europe, and this is probably why he is believing in the said propaganda. And then again, it's not criticism against him. But the United States, Canada, they're still close. United States, they're still engaging with Canada. They're still supporting Canada in regards to Russia. Okay? And when it comes to that the Arctic Sea and Russia's competing domination over the Arctic, and the United States is still supporting Canada, so Canada can have their ships go up. But to me, this doesn't make sense. Eurasian Mapping, then again, I'm just pointing it out. He has Canada minus 60, even though I would give it personally a plus 40. Okay? Yes, relations have gotten down. Yes, relations are swinging the other direction. But this doesn't make sense. He has Russia as plus 30, and this doesn't make sense. All of Europe is red, symbolizing that the United States really cannot stand Europe, and I would say this would also be wrong. Yes, the United States doesn't hate Europe. Maybe Donald Trump does. I hate Europe too, being completely honest. I'm a huge critic of Europe. Huge critic. I would describe this as my relationship with Europe. Look at Ukraine, minus 60. I would not say that. Minus 60, I would say more like plus 30. Because the United States is actually doing Ukraine a favor. They are bending over backwards for Ukraine. President Trump has said that he wants the fighting to stop in Ukraine. He is tired. I would say he's tired. He is just sad. He's saddened. He feels heartbreaking to see the lives being wasted in this war with Ukraine with no progress being made. And ideally, there is absolutely nothing in regards to the fighting in regards to actually the consequence and the peace. Honestly, he's right. There's absolutely no reason why this war needed to be started in the first place. But in regards to that, but I would say, then again, I'm trying as respectful as possible to Eurasian. I have to use you as an example, Eurasian. I'm nothing against you. I still am a loyal subscriber, but I'm going to call out the mistake, and I'm not going to be afraid to call it out. It's Russia. Russia is an adversary of the United States. It's -60, not +30. United States, Russia, they still hate each other very much. In fact, President Trump threatened sanctions very recently on Putin for not coming to the table. I say recently, as in the last month. So, yes, the United States, I mean, we're still engaging with Russia in regards to supporting Canada with their domination in the Arctic, their competition with the Arctic, making sure that Canada and their ships, they are roaming free in the Arctic, and Russia isn't overtaking them. And if what Eurasian mapping was saying here is true, then the United States wouldn't be supporting Canada, and they are, regards to the Arctic. So I wouldn't say take everything he's saying in this video 100% correctly. I just wouldn't. +30 for Belarus. I'm telling you right now, United States hates Belarus. Trump actually is the #1 president that sanctioned Belarus the most. Forget about Joe Biden. Trump sanctioned Belarus the most. It doesn't matter if Lukashenko endorsed Trump. I'm just thinking, yeah, Lukashenko and Trump, yeah, they may have some similarities. And honestly, that's not a good thing to say, honestly. I shouldn't have said that. But, yeah, ideologically, kind of, I mean, maybe Putin endorsed Harris. So, obviously, there's some sort of strat that goes around when it comes to that. So, I don't really take this to a heart, and this isn't really, but I'm pointing it out because I'm not saying Eurasian mapping is the liberal media. And I don't think he's liberal at all. I think he's just neutral. I think he's pro-West for sure. He's pro-West. He might be, he probably is critical to Trump to some point. But I'm telling you, the liberal media, the progressive media, even the West, the Europeans, they're trying to blow this up and make this much bigger than what it actually is. And what it actually is really United States, Canada, they're getting like some sort of engagement. And guess what? That's super normal, because if friends don't fight, then there's probably not something pretty wrong with your friendship, because friendships aren't perfect. When your friend doesn't fight with you, I mean, you probably don't want to fight. But when your friend fights with you, what happens? That's very normal, because that expresses that you are getting comfortable with your friend. You feel comfortable to approach your friend and tell him your feelings and tell him what's on your mind, or him or her. And that friend tells you what's on your mind, on his or her mind. And then you get into a fight, but guess what ends up happening? You come back together. Okay? United States, what happened with France and the United States during the Civil War? The United States went over and threatened a war with France in order to enforce the Monroe Doctrine. Before that, yeah, France and the United States didn't get along. But less than 10 years later, what did France do? They gave the Statue of Liberty to the United States, and in their words, just commemorate their lasting friendship. And I'm like, wait, hang on. Didn't 8 years ago, didn't we just have that dispute? But to them, they're like, yeah, but then again, we're friends. You see? We have our fights, and we make up. Okay? And that's what people need to understand. People that understand and study foreign relations. I'm not going to say I'm an expert. I don't major in that. But I do know a lot when it comes to the foreign relations stuff. And I do know when it comes to foreign politics, the United States has implemented its it seeds into the West, and it's going to stay there. The United States is not going to turn on the West. The United States is in the West is not going to turn on the United States. They're in a fight right now. There's infighting in the West, but guess what? Eventually, it's going to end. I promise you. Yes, there's a trade war. Just because NATO and the United States, we're all allies, we're happy-go-lucky together, that doesn't mean we don't have our fights, we don't have our threats. That's part of friendship. That is a part of friendship. And international relations, international friendships are just the same as human friendships, social friendships. Nothing different. Because the people running the countries are human. And I can guarantee you, Donald Trump gets along a lot with the European leaders. He was just at the funeral for Pope Francis, who passed away on Monday. And I don't know what happened, but he sat by those European leaders. I can imagine that they were very respectful. I can imagine that they had a small conversation, not about politics, but sort of like a conversation that Obama and Trump had at Jimmy Carter's funeral. If Obama and Trump can have a conversation like that, there's no doubt about it that Trump can have a conversation with these leaders. I can guarantee you, putting politics aside, Trump loves these leaders. They get along with each other very well. I think Donald Trump put politics aside, got very along with Zelensky. They had a one-by-one conversation, and they embraced each other. So, do not fall for the liberal grift. The liberal grift is trying, and then again, they're trying to put up a psyop that Donald Trump's turning on the world. That's not true. The United States is saying, hey, look, guys, we feel cheated. We feel cheated in regards to trade. We feel taken advantage of. Because it's true, the United States has done somersaults for these countries for years, through the Cold War, through the War on Terror, and to the present day. And the United States has had enough. They're saying, okay, guys, we feel you're taking advantage of us, and it's hurtful. And these countries are saying, well, you don't understand America, the blah, 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 blah. And that creates anger towards our side. And then again, that's just so normal. This is like our friendship. Friendships between human beings and social friendships. Hey, I feel taken advantage of. And then your friends say, oh, well, we're only doing this because of this. And then you feel that, oh, hang on, you're not listening to me. You are not taking my perspective. And that just creates more anger. And this is what I think, my perspective of what's going on with the United States and the rest of the West. So I don't, no offense to Eurasian, if he's actually watching this, and I don't know, maybe he will come across it. But I don't take his video 100% serious. I do believe, yes, I believe him, and I agree with him. The relations with the West have teared down. But the United States and the West are still close. In fact, I would say they're positive. And the rest of the world is positive with the United States. They're just steering the opposite direction because of the tariffs, but they're not negative yet. And I don't think they ever will be, because the United States have implanted good relations because of the Cold War, because of World War II, because of NATO. And as long as they don't become our adversaries, I think we're good. Now, if they become our adversaries, and I hope they don't, then I would agree with you, Eurasian. Yep, we don't have good relations. But they're not our adversaries, and we still are allies. We're still helping them. In regards to Russia, we're still showing up to these meetings. We're still showing up to these meetings and meeting with the troops, even though J.D. Vance and his reasons and his feelings towards Europe, he can be a little outlandish to the governments of Europe sometimes. That doesn't affect things. And besides, the United States is full of senators and congressmen that just simp for Europe so much. So as long as we have Europe, those senators, which I'm sure the Democrats will forever, the neocons and the Democrats will forever be positive about it, nothing's going to really change. And I know I spent 14 minutes talking about this, because it needed to be getting out of the way. It needs to get out of the way because this right here, international relations and tariffs, is really what's going to be impacting this Canadian election. It's the main topic of this Canadian election. International relations, and in other words, what New York Times is saying, Trump. And really is, I'm not saying they're making it sound like it's Trump's fault. Well, I'm going to I gave Eurasian mapping benefit of the doubt a lot, and I don't ridicule him at all. But I'm not giving the benefit of the doubt to Canada. Canada, as a proud American, as an American who will always defend our country, Canada's in the wrong. Period. Canada's in the wrong. John Carney, not John Carney. Why do I say Mark Carney? Yes, he's in the wrong because this is an ego trip. And I get why Mark Carney is acting all Trump deranged. He wants the liberal, he wants to bring the Liberal Party in Canada to victory, and he wants to unite the Canadian people under him against Trump. So, but you see what that is? Carney. He's making it worse. So if Eurasian mapping, what he's saying is true, minus 60 for Canada, half of it has to be because of Carney. Yes, Carney's a huge Trump critic, but at the end of the day, he's going to go on the phone and have a good conversation with Trump. So that's why I don't really necessarily take that seriously as, like, getting Putin on the phone with Trump would be so hard. Like, it takes a couple days. So it really does, you have to do your judgment when it comes to that. Venezuela, China, yeah, it takes a couple days to get them on the phone with Trump. They don't want to talk with Trump, period. But then again, Canada has some certain trust with us because we've had a long relationship with them, and they do trust us. But not in this economic war. And that is kind of the difference here. But Mark Carney, yes, he's coming out, giving his last-minute efforts to try to seize that Liberal nomination, to try to get the Liberals to follow him. Then again, it's really because of him that this is, and the Liberals that have started this, because it's really the Liberal government that would not compromise with Trump at all. I don't trust the Conservatives at all. I'm not a fan of this election. I'm not literally going to bed at night and thinking, oh, I hope Conservatives win, because Conservatives can't even talk. The Conservative candidates are fake. They're just like the neocons. Yeah, I don't trust them, but I hope out of all of them we get a good one. And maybe the best one would be the Conservatives, led by Pierre Poilievre, who is running to be that new Prime Minister of Canada. And obviously, looking at this here, you can clearly tell and see and establish that no party has the current majority of seats, but the Liberal Party of Canada has the majority. And as long as you have the most seats in Canada, you will become the Prime Minister. Although you will have to have the House of Commons, which is basically the House of Representatives in Canada. The House of Commons will have to come and vote for that Prime Minister whenever that comes. But you'll see you have the Liberal candidate, Mark Carney, and Pierre Poilievre, the Conservative candidate. It is somewhat conservative, center-right to right-wing. Yeah, sort of like the Republican Party. Republican Party's more right-wing, though. You got Francis Blanchet, who is from the Bloc Québécois, which is a left-wing Quebec nationalist sort of party that really campaigns more for Quebecan or Quebecois independence or sovereignty or autonomy, because it's true, Quebec is kind of different from Canada. They're French. French is the official language there. French Canadians mainly come from Quebec, maybe from Ontario. But this is probably what we're looking at here. So in order to win, so this is the previous election in 2021, obviously, looking here, you have these election year. You'll see the Quebec Party, the Bloc Quebecois party. They have 32 seats in the Commons, all of which come from Quebec. Over here, the former Prime Minister Justin Trudeau, he comes from Quebec also. But you'll see it's one of these lower red districts. I think he comes from Toronto, but which is pretty liberal. But looking here, yeah, it's this party, the Bloc Quebecois party, is not going to win. You're not going to have a Quebecois prime minister unless it's going to be like a seat surge, like sort of what Germany had. But this guy, Blanchet, he's not going to be the prime minister, period. That's off the table. He does not have enough seats, and he'll have to counter the two major parties, liberal and conservative parties. Now, Pierre Poilievre is pretty possible. Polls right now, you may ask? Now, we haven't talked much about the polls. In fact, we haven't talked much about this race at all, or hardly ever. Yeah, it's liberals and conservatives are currently butting heads. You'll see the liberals have had a honeymoon, sort of like Harris had it back last year. Liberals were having a honeymoon, very small one, because just like Joe Biden, liberals kicked out Justin Trudeau because Trudeau was just so bad. He was super unpopular, and you'll see, looking at that, there was no chance that Trudeau was going to win, get the Liberals a victory. So Mark Carney came, and when Mark Carney came, he went all the way up. And it was, you could say, it was because of his leadership against Trump. Maybe, I'm not denying that. Then again, Canada has become anti-Trump country now. And this is out of response. This is like Canada's coming together. They see it as an attack from the United States. Which they view that we're supposed to be allies, but the truth is, yeah, we're allies, but we're also friends, and friends need to be honest with each other. And the truth is, Canada, you like it or not, you can deny it, but you are ripping us off. You are hurting us economically. You are hurting the American people, and we are. And then again, friends hold each other accountable. Friends will tell other friends that, hey, you're making a mistake and we expect better from you. So United States, we're saying, hey, Canada, we expect better from you as our friend. And yeah, Canada's kicking rocks right now. They're throwing a fit. They're mad. They're butthurt about it. But you know what? It's really up to Canada, honestly. It's really up to, it's not us. The United States is doing what an ally should do, calling out their allies for being disrespectful, calling out their allies for being rude, for being ignorant, and just not treating us fairly. That's not what friends do. So stop saying we're allies. Stop saying we're friends if you are not going to owe up to it. So we're looking at Canada. And of course, Carney, he has the Canadian people in their grift. I'm not so trustworthy at the Conservatives. They probably have the anti-Trump grift also. But I'm hoping that the Conservatives, it's a gamble. And I'm hoping Conservatives win this. Reason why? This isn't a win for the right. This election is so irrelevant in regards to the Republican Party. Oh, it's a loss for Republicans. No, it's not, stupid. We have Republicans, conservative America has nothing to do with this election. This is Canada's problem. This is the Canadian right's problem. We can cheer for the Canadian right, but we absolutely have nothing to do with it. But whatever happens in that election, and we're not going to throw a fit. We're not going to rage on YouTube on it. Whatever happens. But I'll tell you, being completely honest with you, I want Conservatives to win because I view the Conservative Party as the most likely political party to sit down and actually compromise. Liberals, for the longest time now, have proved themselves to be the ones to rip off America. How long have Liberals held the office of Prime Minister in Canada? How long? List of Prime Ministers in Canada. Yeah, he was appointed. And he's actually running in an election. You have Justin Trudeau, re-elected in 2021, re-elected in 2019. elected in 2015. So supposedly, we've had a liberal prime minister in Canada for over 10 years. A decade. So, yeah, there's a chance that the Canadian people, they're done with liberal control. They want to steer up the status quo. And then again, they've almost had, they had Stephen Harper for 9 years, it looks like. Was he elected in 2004? No, was he elected? No, he was. Stephen Harper, yeah, he was from, he's in a different color, though, okay, I think he comes from, it was the Conservative Party was formed by the merger of the Canadian Alliance, the Progressive Conservative Party of Canada. So I guess the Conservative Party was like the New Deal sort of. Oh, actually, hang on. No, this is the Conservative Party leadership of Canada. Okay, interesting. Interesting. So yeah, he was elected in 2006. But he was the elected leader in 2004. See how that goes, and they have their very own leader election when it comes to that. But we are going to do a prediction for the election, and I'll tell you the official election prediction in regards to the official election prediction in regards to the Canadian. It's very complicated because Canada, this isn't the official Canada map. This map, very irrelevant. They don't use this map to determine the Prime Minister. They actually use this map, House of Commons. And I'm going to tell you, what the time we've spent talking about foreign policy and foreign politics, and how for some reason, the world is mad at the United States, even though really we're just having a sit-down conversation. We're not going to have time. Not to mention, I know nothing about which seat votes for which seat. I mean, obviously we can look at previous history, but we don't know what's going on in these seats. Each seat, it's important to note, it's very similar to our U.S. elections. Each seat has a different race. This isn't a presidential race like it's let's see, this is 21. It isn't like a Poilievre versus Carney, and Carney and Poilievre are only on the ballot, and each seat has to determine. No, it's not like that. In fact, Poilievre and Carney, no race in Canada, are Poilievre in Canada and Carney on the ballot. No race. There is no Poilievre versus Carney race. This is exactly like the U.S. House of Representatives, sort of like Johnson versus Jeffries in regards to the United States House of Representatives, who gets to control that. Very similar. You have different politicians in those seats that we have never heard about. Canadians probably know them best, but they're running in this election, and they're running against other said nominees. And it's really about flipping seats, gaining seats. And if the Conservatives, they need 52 seats in order to surpass the Liberal Mark Carney. They just need 52. How many seats did they gain in 21? Well, they didn't. Actually, no, they didn't. Hang on. They did horrible. My goodness. In fact, Justin Trudeau expanded 5 seats. Yes, that's right. Liberals expanded to 5 seats in the federal election. And maybe this is why Erin O'Toole was kicked out, or maybe give it to the Conservative Party. They did kick out the guy that was probably causing this. Trudeau was unpopular. But then again, it was COVID back then, and people were critical of COVID. But you know how Canada is with their free speech. Horrible. But yes, you see how the results look like. by by province and territory, this is what the map looks like, and I actually can take it. You'll see liberals, they control the very rural areas. Isn't that weird? But then again, you look at these rural areas and say they're kind of like Vermont. Just think of it like Vermont, and then it kind of makes sense. Like, look at this. Newfoundland is 70% liberal. That's insane. Adding all the seats together, and actually, it's an at-large. Is it at-large? Yeah, it's at-large. At-large. Yes, it's at-large. Just like this seat right here. Yeah, Yukon is right here. This one, not know what. Then again, I know some of the provinces and territories of Canada. Not all of them. In fact, provinces of Canada map. Yeah, we can use the actual terms. Yeah, I think that's Northwest Territories. Yes, Northwest Territories are liberal. Yukon, despite being influenced sort of like by Alaska, it's liberal. Yukon's pretty liberal. But believe it or not, British Columbia is actually conservative. And this is crazy because you have Vancouver there, and you would think Vancouver is extremely liberal, and it is. But apparently there's enough population up here to make it conservative. It's sort of like Missouri, if you will. You have Kansas City. You got St. Louis, Missouri. Very liberal. You got Memphis and Tennessee. But on reality, Tennessee is 60%, despite Republican and conservative, despite Memphis, if that makes sense. But yes, maybe it's actually more liberal by popular vote, and this is just by seats, and it looks like it is by seats. But I would imagine it would be much closer in Vancouver, but much closer in British Columbia. But yes, then you got Alberta, you got Saskatchewan, you got Manitoba, and that's a part of the conservative faction. This is sort of like down here, it's like the deep south of Canada. Like Canada's south, and it, not to mention, is pretty south, but it's southwest of the country. It is pretty rural, unpopulated. This is like Canada's Dixie. Pretty conservative there. That's where the conservative stronghold is. The rest is pretty liberal. You got this one up here, Nunavut. I keep getting them mixed up with Northwest Territories. That goes for this Orange Party. That Orange Party, it's called the New Democrat Party. And that New Democrat Party is led by this guy, Jagmeet Singh, and I don't know if he's still leading or not. Yes, he's still a leader, but you'll see he comes from that district. And yeah, the New Democrat Party is actually a liberal party, then again. Center left to left wing. Yeah, and you'll see Nunavut is at large. The Nunavut and its islands. What seat does he come from? Yeah, he actually does not come from Nunavut, but he comes from Burnaby, which is in the lower mainland in Canada. Actually, yeah, it's from British Columbia, federal district in British Columbia. So yes, you'll see British Columbia is pretty diverse. Here's just one liberal. See, yeah, that's why the left is divided. That's why British Columbia is conservative. They're split ticketing. But if they weren't, I think British Columbia would be pretty liberal. But that's what you get when you have a multi-party system. But then, oh yes, Quebec is not liberal. It's actually the party. It's the Bloc Québécois party. That's a major political party, except for the urban areas, which liberals seem to have their best gain in. Yeah, in these areas, like, Yes, you got New Brunswick. And then you got Nova Scotia. Right up here, Nova Scotia. St. Edward's Island. That's right. Not St. Edward's. Prince Edward's Island. Yes. And this is kind of what the 2021 map looks like. And it doesn't always look like this. So you'll see in current and other maps. It can look relatively pretty different. 2019, you will see that actually the Liberals won Quebec. And they also, no, Nunavut is still Democratic, New Democratic. But this was the map in regards to majority of said seats, and you'll see actually Conservatives did pretty well. They gained 626. 2015 when Liberals actually clinched the majority. They went past 170 seats, which is actually needed in order to win the said election. 148 seats. They flipped. They flipped 148 seats. Conservatives lost 60. The New Democrats lost 51. It was a bloodbath. An absolute bloodbath. And look at how red Justin Trudeau. And Justin Trudeau didn't win these. Let's keep in mind, because Justin Trudeau's not on the ballot. Justin Trudeau is on the ballot in his own seat in Montreal, or wherever he is in Quebec. But he is not on the ballot abroad in Canada. What's on the ballot is Liberals, Conservatives, and they might have the brackets on who the leader might be, but that's not the said candidate running in the said abroad election, if that makes any sense. But this was 2015. Really, Conservatives in 2015, they only held Alberta and Saskatchewan. Even Manitoba was pretty solid Liberal. 2011 is when, of course, the Conservatives under Mr. Stephen Harper took over. But that's kind of an example of, they do kind of vary, flip around. So my views, what are the polls saying? I would like to know what the average poll is saying. What's the average? Is there even an average? Okay. This one. Are these okay. Opinion polling for the 2025 federal election by constituency. No, we want this one. Okay. So Liberals are leading despite the destruction they've done for 5 years. Being completely honest, they've done horrible destruction. So believe it or not, Liberals aren't going to whoop Conservatives tomorrow by a landslide. Don't let them think that. But this is the current polling. Actually, hang on. No, yeah. You'll see by current polls, they're getting pretty closer. But Liberals are leading pretty aggressively. And knowing the seats they've had for quite a while, I would be kind of worried if I were a Conservative in this said election process. In Canada, opinion polling. This is by British Columbia. This is by average. I would say it's Liberal. Kind of weird because British Columbia has been Conservative for the last couple elections, as I've mentioned. Okay, no, hang on. Okay, so how many... I'm going to have to pull up a Google Doc. Or, yeah, we're pulling up a Google Doc. Or, how about this? This is for BC. Liberal, conservative. So we're going to keep track of the seats. So we would say, 1, this is a liberal victory in Burnaby Central, Burnaby North. 2, so 1, 2, 3, liberal. This is counting liberal wins in British Columbia. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. All right, 8 for liberal. All right. Conservative wins. 1, 2, 3. Current tie. Like Surrey Central. We'll just say 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Wait, hang on. Maybe I'm going into Manitoba. Shoot. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, 5. And we'll call British Columbia for the Liberals. They will win British Columbia. Or how about this? We'll remember British Columbia. We're going to make it more realistic. We're going to go east to west. Sort of how United... Actually, no. No, we won't. We're just going to continue because we just know very little. Manitoba. Interesting. It could be liberal. 1. This is for the MT for Manitoba. Liberals. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9. So liberal 9. Conservative. 1, 2, 3. 4, 5, 6. All right. Not good, but Manitoba is actually being more liberal. And I guess it's more of a swing area. Like a swing territory or swing province. Okay? 2 seats, 2 provinces for the Liberals. Now, Quebec... I can only have... Oh, yeah, look at this. From LaSalle and Mard... Yeah, obviously, we're going to call it for the Quebec party of the Bloc Quebec. The Bloc Quebecois. Bloc Quebecois. Or Quebecois. That's what it's called. All right. The next territory... or Saskatchewan, and those are the only polls for by territory or constituency. We'll say conservative. So Saskatchewan is conservative. And seeing that those are the only territories that we've got, that means we're just going to have to make a wild guess. What do you think the NDP is winning the Northwest Territories? Well, seeing how long Northwest Territories has been under their control, well, except for 2015, of course. They could. If you look at 2021 and compare to those polls, yeah, they taken a nosedive. Or they're now looking down here. I'm not sure. We'll leave. That's too close to call. We'll say Alberta, whatever that's called. Alberta is conservative. Ontario, no doubt about it, is liberal. Newfoundland, Nova Scotia, whatever that's called, I think it's New Brunswick, Nova Scotia, Prince Edward's Island. You could say this goes. I'm not sure. I'll say sure. NDP wins Northwest. The Nunavut territory. So this is my result. Liberals win 9. Conservatives 2. Bloc Québécois 1. New Democratic Party 1. Green Party 0, and the PPC 0. So obviously in regards to what the map would look like by constituency, and that's not going to be shown. But what do you guys think about this video? We will talk about the results. We'll do a separate video on the results, as always, when we cover foreign elections and who the winner is, and we can even compare our results in regards to who won. But anyways, what do you guys think in regards to this video? Let me know down below. And as always, I will see you all in the next political episode.